think that's you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dot correspondence.
Yes, I have that. There's a letter from Douglas Matz presenting his resignation as a member of the zoning board of appeals. An email stating the resignation of Jim Potterfront as a member of the recreation commission. An email from Sean Davey volunteering to serve on a committee where needed. An email from Tommy Graffinino applying for the vacancy on the zoning board of appeals. An email from Peter Reich concerning the definition of residency, and a letter from Craig Wood dated September 29th, presenting his resignation from the designation of department head effective immediately. And that's the correspondence.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll do the supervisor's financial report for the month of August. We began the month with $18,676,558.19. We took in $754,761.49. We dispersed $934,396.21, leaving us with a balance of $18,496,923.47. And we have invested in our class accounts $7,237,528.17. Next, we have two proclamations. This was a proclamation we read at the Amber read at the anniversary at the party for the Shelter Island Country Club's 120th anniversary. Whereas the Shelter Island Country Club was founded on September 20th, 1901. And whereas it is the oldest continuously operated 9-hole golf, it is one of the oldest continuously operated 9-hole golf courses in the country. And whereas the historic 9-hole course was designed to fit the terrain just as early courses in Scotland were, which makes it distinctive among all Eastern Long Island courses. And whereas through the stewardship of the Shelter Island Country Club, 42 acres of town-owned open space have been preserved to augment Shelter Island's aquifer. And whereas the clubhouse, a colonial revival building designed and built by Charles Corwin and listed on the National Register of Historical Places, also offers majestic views of Deering Harbor and Peconic Bay. And whereas over the past 120 years, the course has provided Shelter Islanders, golfers, and non-golfers alike a center for social, recreational, and educational activities. And whereas the Shelter Island Country Club has for more than a century, through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and the COVID-19 pandemic, to name just a few historical events, maintained the clubhouse and course as a centerpiece of island life. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the town board, on behalf of all the residents of the town of Shelter Island, hereby decreed September 20th, 2021 as Shelter Island Country Club Day, and is signed by the town board. And the second proclamation is a proclamation about Fire Prevention Week. Whereas the town of Shelter Island is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting Shelter Island, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, and homes are the locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire. And whereas smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms separately alert you to the dangers of fire and toxic gas. And whereas Shelter Island residents should be sure everyone in the home understands the different sounds of the alarms and know how to properly respond. And whereas Shelter Island residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas Shelter Island residents will make sure their smoke and CO alarms meet the needs of all their family members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. And whereas the 2021 Fire Prevention Week theme is Learn the Sounds of Fire Safety, effectively serves to remind us that it is important to learn the sounds of smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Now, therefore, I, Gerard F. Siller, Supervisor of Town of Shelter Island, Hereby proclaim October 3rd through 9th, 2021 as Fire Prevention Week throughout our town, and I urge all the residents of Shelter Island to learn the sounds of fire safety. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand this first day of October 1st, 2021. And it's signed today. That's a proclamation we'll have to give to the fire commissioners. Okay. At this time, we have to set some public hearings. Jim, you want to get us started?
Sure. Whereas Daniel W. Rosenberg of 21 Lakeview Drive has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a stake mooring and pulley system in Menantic Creek at Lesser Street, 75 feet west offshore into 3 feet of water, and at a location designated as latitude 41.058806 degrees north and longitude 72.340904 degrees west. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 90-5 of the code of the town of Shelter Island, the town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at 4:44 p.m. prevailing time on the 22nd day of October 2021 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed installation. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Whereas Stephen Rossamilia, 22 New York Avenue, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a mooring in Cockles Harbor at the Stone Wall Town Landing in the space formerly occupied by Stefan C. 3313 mooring located at latitude 41.8570 north and longitude 72.31273 west. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at 4:48 p.m. prevailing time on the 22nd day of October 2021 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or opposition to the proclaimed proposed installation. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Whereas a water advisory committee was established on March 1st, 2019, consisting of 5 members, and whereas said committee finds that additional members would add perspective and capabilities to this committee, now therefore be it resolved that effective October 1st, 2021, the water advisory committee is expanded to consist of 7 members. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Whereas the term of Anthony Rando as a member of the Recreation Commission expired on August 7, 2021. And whereas Mr. Rando has expressed his willingness to continue to serve the town in said capacity, now therefore be it resolved that Anthony Rando is hereby reappointed to serve as a member of the Recreation Commission for a term to expire on August 7, 2028. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Be it resolved that Sarah Lewis is hereby appointed to serve as a fit aide for the year 2021 at a rate of $17 per hour and to serve as an assistant recreation leader for the year 2021 at a rate of $20 per hour. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Be it resolved that Marissa Finelli is hereby appointed to serve as a full-time office assistant at $22 per hour for 35 hours per week, retroactive to August 18th, 2021. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Whereas a vacancy exists on the Community Housing Board, and whereas the town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Peter McCracken is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Community Housing Board for a term to expire on February 9th, 2024. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Whereas a vacancy exists on the Community Housing Board, and whereas the town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Brand Dougherty Johnson is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Community Housing Board for a term to expire on February 9, 2022. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Whereas a vacancy exists again on the Community Housing Board, and whereas town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Paul Mercurio is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Community Housing Board for a term to expire on February 9th, 2023. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Whereas a vacancy exists on the Community Housing Board, and whereas the town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Maria Magenti is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Community Housing Board for a term to expire on February 9th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Whereas a vacancy exists on the Water Advisory Committee and whereas the town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Andrew Chapman is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Water Advisory Committee for a term to expire on April 2nd, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Whereas a vacancy exists on the Water Advisory Committee, and whereas the town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Doug Sherrard is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Water Advisory Committee for a term to expire on August 2, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas vacancy exists on the planning board and whereas the town board has advertised for and interviewed applicants, now therefore be it resolved that Michael Shotkin is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the planning board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2021. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor hereby authorized and directed to credit the reimbursement check in the amount of $294.50 to the Sylvester Manor Educational Farm Incorporated to the A8160.200 landfill miscellaneous equipment account and the reimbursement check in the amount of $1,000 received from the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal for the Mack truck deductible to the DA 5130.446 highway machinery contractual account. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $421.65 to Car Business, P.O. Box 936715, Atlanta, Georgia, for the copier on the second floor of the town hall for the term of July 11th, 2021 through July 10th, 2022 as follows. A 1420.484, $140.55. The B 3621.484 account, $140.55. And the B 3622.484, $140.55. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $102 from the A1220.491 Supervisors Contracts account to Car Business Systems, P.O. Box 936715, Atlanta, Georgia, 31193-6715 for the fee of $51 per month for the months of August and September 2021 for the base rate charge for overages. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Be it resolved that supervisors hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $521.99 from the B 3620.491 Building Department Service Account, Contract Account, and $521.98 from the B 8010.491 Zoning Officers Service Contracts Account to Car Business Systems, P.O. Box 936715, Atlanta, Georgia, 31193-6715, for the annual maintenance contract for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 for the copier machine in the building department. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $1,158 from the A1220.491 Supervisor Contracts account to Williamson Law Book Company, 790 Canning Parkway, Victor, New York, for the accounting budget software support contract for the period October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Delight and Frank DeBernardis has applied for a rebate from the town of Shelter Island under Chapter 88 of the Shelter Island Town Code to install a low nitrogen sanitary system for property located at 15 North Brander Parkway, Shelter Island, New York. And whereas the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board has reviewed the project and recommended a conditional rebate of up to $10,000 be awarded. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts the findings of the WQIAB and approves the applicant for a conditional rebate of up to $10,000 in eligible costs upon completion of the project and subject to the applicant's compliance with and completion of all terms and conditions of the conditional rebate agreement. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be given to the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board and the Building Department. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas George Berman has applied for a rebate from the town of Shelter Island under Chapter 88 of the Shelter Island Town Code to install a no nitrogen sanitary system for property located at 6 South Street, Shelter Island, New York. And whereas the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board, WQIAB, has reviewed the project and recommended a conditional rebate of up to $6,000 be awarded. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts the findings of the WQIAB and approves the applicant for a conditional rebate of up to $6,000 in eligible costs upon completion of the project and subject to the applicant's compliance with and completion of all terms and conditions of the conditional rebate agreement. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be given to the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board and the Building Department. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Whereas Anne Marie and Benedict Norris have applied for a rebate in the town of Shelter Island under Chapter 88 of the Shelter Island Town Code to install a low nitrogen sanitary system for property located at 38 Brander Parkway, Shelter Island, New York. And whereas the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board has reviewed the project and recommended a conditional rebate of up to $8,000 be awarded. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts the findings of the WQIAB and approves the applicant for a conditional rebate of up to $8,000 and eligible cost upon completion of the project and subject to the applicant's compliance with and completion of all terms and conditions of the conditional rebate agreement. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be given to the Water Quality Improvement Advisory Board and the Building Department. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $750 from the A1220.491 Supervisors Support Contracts Account to Records Consultants, Inc., 12829 West Wetmore Road, San Antonio, Texas, for the renewal of the fixed asset management inventory software for the period September 24th, 2021 through September 23rd, 2022. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas the Commissioner of Public Works has requested permission to advertise for bids for a portable bathroom trailer for Crescent Beach, now therefore be it resolved that said request is hereby approved. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the town board approved the permit for the Shelter Island Historical Society to hold a musical play in July of 2021, and whereas the Historical Society paid a compliance fee of $100, and whereas no fees were required for said event, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to return the deposit of $100 to the Shelter Island Historical Society, P.O. Box 847, Shelter Island, New York, 11964. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Whereas the town board approved a permit for Andrea Stern for permission for an art exhibition. And whereas Andrea Stern has paid a compliance fee of $100. And whereas no fees were required for said event. Now therefore be it resolved the supervisors hereby authorized and directed to return the deposit of $100 to Andrea Stern at 44 West 77th Street, 10E, New York, New York, 10024. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas 10 Lords Lane wishes to construct a barn with a bathroom and septic system on land that was restricted to agricultural use and support at the time of subdivision and subject to town board approval. And whereas no variance, special permit, or wetlands permit is needed from the town of Shelter Island, now therefore be it resolved that the town board finds that the proposed construction is consistent with the permitted use. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Burt Wave has requested a variance to attach a float and workboat to a single mooring to support his aquaculture business. And whereas the town board is considering a code change to regulate such activity, now therefore be it resolved that Mr. Wave is hereby granted temporary permission to moor his boat and platform together pursuant to Code Section 90-10, which gives this board the ability to set regulations on moorings. This temporary permission shall last for 1 year. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Brian Sherman, Superintendent of Highways, has requested permission to auction off the following items through Municipid starting October 4th, 2021 at 0800 hours and ending October 15th, 2021 at 1600 hours. 4 16-foot Alpine steel insulated roll-up doors sold together as is, and 1 10-foot Alpine steel insulated roll-up door as is. Now therefore be it resolved that said request is hereby approved. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the town board grants permission for a barbecue to be held at Wade's Beach on October 2nd, 2021, which is tomorrow. Co-sponsored by the town of Shelter Island and the Shelter Island Lions Club. And be it further resolved that the deposit and all fees are waived. And be it further resolved that the noise ordinance is suspended during the duration of the event. The event is from 2:30 to 6:30, by the way. And be it further resolved that the chief of police is granting the authority to suspend such parking regulations as he may believe necessary to maintain good order during the event. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas in 2022, the town of Shelter Island expects to receive approximately $13,570 in federal community development block grant funds. These funds may be used and have previously been used for a variety of projects to be selected by local officials. Eligible activities include housing rehabilitation, public services, public improvements and facilities, administration and planning. Now therefore be it resolved, the town residents are invited to attend this public hearing at 4:40 p.m. prevailing time on the 22nd day of October 2021 in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, to express citizens' views on the local community development needs to be met with these funds. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas James Davies, 66 Ram Island Drive, has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for a wetlands permit to remove existing stair along westerly property line, redeck existing platform at bulkhead, adjust grades, construct new retaining wall, pool, and patio partially within regulated area. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 129-7 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, a public hearing will be held at 4:42 p.m. prevailing time on the 22nd day of October 2021 in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed application. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at 4:46 p.m. on the 22nd day of October 2021. Get your mouth working, Albert. For all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to a proposed local law entitled Override of the Tax Levy Limit. To wit, be it enacted by the town board of the town of Shelter Island as follows. Section 1, legislative intent. It is the intent of this local law to override the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the town of Shelter Island, County of Suffolk, pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, and to allow the town of Shelter Island, County of Suffolk, to adopt a town budget for A, town purposes, B, fire protection districts, and C, any other special or improvement district governed by the town board for the fiscal year 2022 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, Section 2, authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Subdivision 5 of General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, which expressly authorizes the town board to override the tax levy limit by the adoption of a local law approved by vote of 60% of the town board. Section 3, tax levy limit override. The town board of the town of Shelter Island, County of Suffolk, is hereby authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2022 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the limits specified in General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. Section 4, severability. If any clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision, or part of this local law, or the application thereof to any person, firm, or corporation, or circumstance shall be adjusted by any court of competent jurisdiction to be invalid or unconstitutional, such order or judgment shall not affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder thereof, but shall be confined in its operation to the clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision as part of this local law, or in its application to the person, individual, firm, or corporation or circumstance directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment or order shall be rendered. Section 5, effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second, and just a comment from whoever wants to comment on. It's a standard procedure that's done every year that we, doesn't have any impact on how we, going to move with the taxes, and our budget for next year. But it's just a standard procedure that we follow, and all towns follow. All right. Be it resolved.
Wait,
Well,
you second?
I'm second, yeah, I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you. Be it resolved that the following 2021 budget transfers are hereby approved. $1,000 from the A 8160.488 landfill high visibility clothing account to the A 8160.484 landfill office and miscellaneous account, and $900 from the A 1490.122 Public Works personal services account to the A 1490.121 Public Works personal services account. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the 2021 general claims numbered 1466 through 1588 in the amount of $122,366.82. 2021 highway claims numbered 174 through 193 in the amount of $18,078.54. And 2021 West Neck water claims numbered 37 through 38 in the amounts of $589.74. Are hereby approved for payment as audited, and the supervisor and or town board members are hereby authorized and directed to sign the approval for payment of same. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this time, we're going to recess the meeting for a public hearing on the Houston dock replacement. Dot?
The application of Stephen and Mary Houseman 45 Mrs. Road. Sold of existing 6-foot by 20-foot floating dock and construct new 6-foot by 32-foot floating dock in kind in place.
Correspondence?
Not on that.
No. Jim, WMAC?
Sure. Talking about Houston. Okay. The WMAC met on September 13th, the last meeting. They were concerned about the dock encroachment on the setbacks for the neighboring property. The contractor, Jack Costello, who was present at the meeting, offered to reduce the size of the floating dock from 6 by 32 to 6 by 28, taking 4 feet off, which he did do, and that would adhere to the 25-foot setback, and it was passed unanimously once that was done. So,
Okay. Any comments from the public on this one? Okay. We'll close that hearing and open the hearing on the Rams Head Inn dock application. Dot.
Okay, the application of Rams Head Inn LLC, 108 Grand Island Drive to construct 10-foot by 10-foot access platform leading to a 5-foot by 50-foot fixed dock, fixed ramp down to a 5-foot by 40-foot fixed dock. Install a 4-foot by 16-foot ramp leading to an 8-foot by 40-foot float with an 8-foot by 40-foot L section in Buckus Harbor.
Yeah.
And that, I think I have
Correspondence?
on that. We have a letter from Pam Demers objecting to the Rams Head Inn dock application for many reasons. And a letter from Anton Borrowino concerning the Rams Head Inn dock.
yeah, so at the same meeting on September 13th, the WMAC met. They did not discuss this application and will seek an advice on the zoning issues from the town board and from the town attorney prior to looking at this application.
Okay, based on that, we're going to recess this hearing. We're meeting Monday night with the WMAC to continue this discussion. So we're going to recess that hearing, and we will open the hearing on the South Ferry mooring application.
Yeah, just for clarification, so Monday night's meeting has been pushed back to
13.
the 13th, which is a Wednesday. Yeah, so it's going to go to the 13th. So I just wanted it clear for everybody who's in attendance that the
That's a
next
Monday?
no, it's a Wednesday because it's on Columbus weekend. So that Monday was eliminated there. We moved it to Wednesday night. I think the meeting is at 6 p.m. It's usually done by Zoom or hybrid. And our chairman is away on a short mini vacation, so he'll be back for that. Thank you.
Dodge South Ferry mooring?
Sure. Application of South Ferry Incorporated to install a mooring in West Neck Harbor at a location designated as latitude 41.0240 degrees north and longitude 72.20506 degrees west. And if said mooring site is approved, applicant will relinquish the 2 mooring sites in West Neck Bay.
Okay,
Yeah.
correspondence?
Yeah, so the,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, you have correspondence?
Same as before, Pam Demarest.
Not for the ferry. This,
Oh, no, I
No,
don't have
nothing.
it.
Okay, thanks.
I'm ahead of myself.
yeah, so we met again on September 13th and with the idea that everybody realizes that during these big storms, and that could be tropical storms coming up or category 1, 2 hurricanes, that South Ferry has a fleet of 4 or 5 ferries, needs to protect some of those ferries. So they used to take them up into West Neck Bay. The navigation up through West Neck Channel there is pretty tight. And so therefore, if you saw the last storm about a month ago or so in the summer, 2 ferries were tied up inside of Shell Beach. So you saw that out there and they're far enough apart. Now we have actually set up a triangle. So the WMAC had concerned about the dock encroachment. No, sorry. The coordinates of the application had been incorrect on the format. We came out with new coordinates. Those new coordinates for the now that okay. Well, it's latitude 41.044737 north and longitude 72.347678 west. So it actually, if you look at a map, the 2 existing ones are a little bit further north and this bottom one is a little further south. It's a triangle set up. So regardless of how the winds swing, those ferries would never hit one another. But all 3 of them would then be moored. And the advantage of that too is in an emergency, if we needed to call upon the ferry rather than bring it all the way up from the bay down through the channel and over, we could get it over to the slip very quickly by moving it. Probably it's 1 or 2 tenths of a mile there.
Right. Cliff, did you want to speak to this?
Essentially, that's our request. We have not ever gone up into West Neck Bay. We do have 2 mooring sites there, but we've never put ground tackle or buoys in there. And so we have not gone up into West Neck Bay. What we have done with the small boat, the Captain Bill Clark, is we have gotten permission from the Cardillos, Jeff and Gary Cardillo, to put it up against the bulkhead near the carry house with the Cardillos property. That boat goes in there nicely, but it does take another hour to get it from West Neck Harbor up to even that location. And then West Neck Bay would be at least another 30 or 40 minutes. And so we will keep that arrangement with the Cardillos as long as they're willing to give it. This will provide us 3 spots, as Councilman Colgan has said. And the 5th boat, we have 5. The 5th boat we'd always keep at the ready here for emergencies. And we can move that around to get in the lee of the wind. We don't intend to moor that anywhere because we always want to have one for as soon as the storm is over, or even as with Mrs. Jernick at the height of the storm, we would be able to transport.
Okay. Thanks, Cliff. Any comments, any questions? Okay, we'll close that hearing and we will open the hearing on a local law to revise the septic requirements.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate any questions.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you.
I don't think we need to read this whole thing. do we?
No, I don't want to.
No, okay.
I
all right.
would do it if you want.
No, I don't think, I wouldn't put you through that. This is the revision that we've been working on for quite a while. We have a number of discussions regarding the requirements. We took out one that we said we would continue our discussion on. We will continue our discussion on that. We want to have any discussion on this before we open it to the public, or?
I think the only comment that I want to make is I know that one of the things in here is about the septic rebates and that making them eligible in certain situations, the installation due to a system failure, if the proposed construction on a new resident is less than 1,500, if there's an economic or situational hardship or the totality of the circumstances surrounding the grant application indicate a substantial public benefit. Jerry and I are meeting with Fred Thiel next week. And so I want to discuss with him these provisions that we have in here to, get his take on whether or not they are eligible. I know, Bob, you've gone over them and looked at them, but since he was the author of the enabling legislation, I want to make sure that,
Good idea.
that he understands what we're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
So
Right.
I just wanted to mention that.
Good idea.
Okay,
And the other thing is, Al, if you just email Joe, I'll get any date that the two of you want to meet. And if we can do it before you leave,
No, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so that one piece that we're missing on septic is stuff on renovations.
Yeah.
And we have some really good definitive ideas. I think if we, three of us meet, and then we could give it to Jerry and Amber for discussion and discuss it here
Yeah,
at
no,
our board meeting.
definitely. No,
But
we'll-
I'd like to get that done sooner rather than
Definitely.
later. All right.
definitely.
Stephen, I see your hand up.
Yes, first I just want to say I'm happy to hear about the meeting with Assemblyman Thiel. I think that's very constructive. My concern, as expressed in the letter in the reporter, is that by opening up WQI funds for certain of these uses, particularly the ones that Councilwoman Brock Williams just read, it would appear, at least to me, to violate the portion of the town law that specifically says that water quality improvement projects do not include projects which have as a purpose to permit or accommodate new growth. That seems to be, at least to me, the nub of the issue. And obviously getting the legislative intent would be very helpful.
I agree. And I think that's why Amber is going to seek the advice of Assemblyman Thiel. But it's a good point, Steve.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we're going to close that hearing and open the hearing on the local law regarding the contractor's license. And this is another lengthy one that I wouldn't dare ask you to read. Again, we've had a lot of discussion on this. I've talked to a number of the contractors. We tried to get a meeting, but a number of the contractors were off island this week. I see Fred Hyatt's online here, believe it or not, from Italy. But a number of the other contractors couldn't make it. They're out of state also. I just want to say the intent of this is for a number of reasons. One, it's to make sure everyone is playing on an even keel, that everyone's licensed, everyone is insured, everyone is equal. We have, a lot of people that work on the island that, pay their dues and pay their insurances and pay their liability and pay their taxes. And then we have a lot of competition from off the island now that charge the same rates as everybody else, but don't pay the overheads that go with being in business. So number one, we want to even the playing field. Number two, we want to make it safe for the homeowners that they can feel comfortable knowing that everyone has liability and workers' comp and all the needed insurances. And number three, I'm not going to lie, since I've been here, we're trying to take as much of the burden off the taxpayers as we can and put user fees in wherever they're feasible. And we're putting user fees in with contractor licenses, with permit applications. We're putting them in with the waterways funds where we feel that anything related to the waterways should come out of the waterways funds and things like that. We put them in with the boat storage. Again, that's, it's a source of revenue. It's a user fee issue as opposed to the general tax base. So it's a kind of a controversial thing. People will say, well, it's a tremendous increase. We're going from $100 for a 2-year license to $250 for 1 year. And I'll say to that, and I'm a businessman, I have a business, that $250 a year is the cost of doing business. It's a license fee. And I think if you can't afford $250, maybe you shouldn't be in business. And that might sound cold, that might sound harsh, but I think that's the reality. And that's the way I feel about it. This is the public hearing. Quite honestly, I thought there'd be a lot of people here to talk about it. We will talk about it Tuesday at the work session. I will wait for some of the contractors that I respect and that I look for their opinions to get back on the island. And we will talk either at the work session or as a group, individual, separate from the work session. And we will come back to the town board. But this is the proposal. This is the first part of the hearing. And I don't know if there's anybody that wants to make any comments.
So you did get one piece of correspondence on it,
Okay,
from Michael Shatkin proposing a change to what you have.
okay. Mhm. Okay.
I think it's prudent, Jerry, to discuss with the contractor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's a smart move.
Yes.
I mean, there's different
Yeah.
sides to this. People brought different ideas to the table, so I think
Yes.
it's good to.
Mhm.
I concur with that. The other thing is this 11-page document that we're talking about right here is online. So Amber,
Mhm.
want to
Yes.
explain how to get there?
Oh, yes, if you go to the
Town website.
town website, do I have it easily? No. And
Yeah.
Christine is, well, that's the town code. Can I share my screen? Yeah, I mean, it's a little, I feel like we do, we meet monthly on the town website and we're making changes and trying to make things.
So you go to that box,
Mhm.
town
Yeah, so
town
we're trying to-
topics.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're trying to make things more user-friendly and where people can find things. So if you go, scroll down to town topics, news and information.
Second one in, town topics, and you hit that, and then you see upcoming pending laws and legislation. There's a number of things on septics, there's the contract. The last two things we just talked about are right there. And the other one was that charitable noise exemptions. So we are trying to do a better job of getting these town topics up online so the public has access to them, so they can actually spend some time, look through them, and be a little bit more visible so everybody has the same information that the town board has. We're going to go home this weekend, we're going to ponder through this, and we're going to make notes, as Albert just mentioned. There's some possible concerns in here, and Jerry will meet with the contractors and, maybe we'll tweak it. So, but, generally speaking, I think the supervisor kind of gave an overview of why, in this day and age, it's important to have, level the playing field. Again, it depends how you define that. So there's lots of issues in these 11 pages. So I think it behooves people to take some time, look through it. And if you have suggestions, please send them in. If you feel that there's something that's part of this legislation, that possible legislation that needs to be tweaked, give us your ideas and opinions about it, and we'll gladly look at those. Thank you.
Any comments? Okay, so I don't. we close this or recess? Okay, we're gonna recess this hearing. And next on the agenda is reconvene the Ram's Head mooring applications. But again, we recessed this because we wanted to define residents. Definition of resident, right? And we haven't finished that yet. So I don't see the point in reconvening this. until we define that.
Recess again.
So we'll keep that recess for now, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can only tell you that not in the August, in the September meeting, but back in July 19th, when the WMAC met, they did take a stance on the mooring application, which you all, which you had, I don't know.
well, I think as a town board, we feel comfortable with that, but we're
Yeah.
not comfortable with the definition.
Right,
With the
Okay.
LLC as
Okay.
opposed to the resident and the
Okay.
property owner. So I think until we get that defined, we're gonna, Yeah.
Because right now, if we were to pass it, we would.
no, I'm not
would
asking you.
be,
to
no,
put it
we
up.
would be in conflict with
Right.
our own
Right.
legislation,
Right.
so.
I just want you to understand
wanna
that
do
the
it.
WMAC did discuss
Right.
this thoroughly
Yep.
for a better part of 45 minutes to an hour at least, and made some recommendations, so.
okay. So now we'll reconvene our regular meeting and act on the Houston dock application.
It's not very long.
Yes, well, I'm sorry.
Oh. God. Is it doing this one? or no? Wait. Should we talk-
Thanks, Dot. Hey, want me to take, and I'll just pass it down? Okay.
We're gonna do Houston and we're gonna do South Perry.
Okay, we got both.
I got the big one. Whereas Stephen and Mimi Houston have petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to remove and dispose of an existing 6 by 20-foot floating dock and construct a new 6 by 32 foot floating dock in kind in place. And whereas a public hearing was duly held on the first day of October 2021 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Part 617, Section 617.10 of the State Environmental Quality Review Act and Chapter 60 of the Code of the Town of Shelter Island, notice is hereby given that the town board as lead agency has determined that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment and a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. Environmental review status pursuant to Chapter 60 of the Town Code of the Town of Shelter Island is a type 2. And the reasons for supporting this determination, the proposed dock replacement is number 1, it will not cause an obstruction into navigational channels or interfere with navigation. Number 2, it will not adversely affect the public's right to use town waters or land under town waters. Number 3, it will not adversely affect shell fishing grounds or other aquatic wildlife which exists in the immediate area. Number 4, it will not adversely affect the quality of tidal waters, shoreline, or beaches. Number 5, it will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent residents. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue a permit for the aforementioned construction as per specifications filed. After said applicant pursuant to Section 53-9 of the Code of Town of Shelter Island has filed with the town clerk a certificate that the owner has at least $300,000 of liability insurance on the location and operation covered by said permit, and a copy of the contractor's current home improvement contractor's license, and a certificate from the contractor performing the operations covered by said permit that said contractor has an owner's/contractor's policy issued in favor of the town of Shelter Island for a liability limits of at least $500,000 covering operations of the contractors pursuant to said permit. And be it further resolved that said operations shall be completed within 1 year from the date of issuance of this permit. Said permit is subject to the recommended limitations and any requirements that may be necessary under the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the Army Corps of Engineers, and any other agencies having jurisdiction. So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Southbury Inc. has petitioned the town of Shelter Island for permission to install a mooring in West Neck Harbor at a location designated as latitude 41.02404 degrees north and longitude 72.20506 degrees west. And if said mooring site is approved, applicant will relinquish the 2 mooring sites in West Neck Bay. And whereas a public hearing was duly held on the first day of October 2021 for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition, now therefore be it resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to issue a permit for the aforementioned installation and the relinquishment of the 2 mooring sites in West Neck Bay. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Can I have that?
Okay, at this time, we're gonna open the meeting to the public. For any comments? Spot in the room, any comments, questions, concerns? Anybody in the audience?
Quick
Last
question.
chance. Oh,
Quick
go ahead, Julie.
question, Jerry.
Yep.
It's nice to see the reconstitution of the Community Housing Board, but a second issue had been raised by the town board about the charge of that particular board. And I'm wondering if that is an ongoing subject.
We're going to have a meeting with the Housing Board next Tuesday. So we'll go
Okay.
over that with them there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to make a motion. We adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. We hope to see you at the beach party tomorrow in recognition of all our volunteers.
Thank you.